I was shocked at how much was already happening here. So we came here to plant a church, and then you guys contact us literally through Facebook Messenger.
She came to the meeting with bullets in the gun.
I had to catch up with you guys on how much you love this place.
Man, we're gonna step up our game, and we're gonna keep pushing forward and doing as many things as we can in our community to push the gospel forward in the city. And nobody could grasp the concept of just the generosity of like, we have a church logo on our tent or whatever. We're not pressuring you to come to our church, but we want to give you something that you don't have to give us back anything.
When you guys left the church, we had decided, okay, we're gonna go different direction here.
You and I both have said it before. It's like, boy, don't you wish we would have figured out those things in the moment?
Right.
It would have been amazing if we would have been able to see those things at the moment.
Brad, a big part of what I do with Heart to Mission, what we do on this podcast, is tell the story of guys who've been able to walk through some difficult times and then come out the other side and figure out, here's exactly what God has carved me out to do. Mm-hmm. Man, I want to hear a little bit about how you were able to turn the page and figure out exactly, hey, what is Brad Phillips' contribution to the world on this little corner down here in Woodruff? Brad Phillips, welcome to your own studio right here in the great city of Woodruff, South Carolina. And man, it is so cool to be here. A lot of people don't know, this is filmed. This whole place is right here. Great place. And thank you so much for having us and hosting us here all the time. And I can't wait to introduce the world to you. My world, because you're famous already without this podcast.
To steal a quote, not famous, but known.
But known.
Uh-huh.
So, we've been talking about this conversation for a while, and based on what we do here, the goal for us is to tell stories and to really talk about leaders who've been able to navigate life and do so in such a way to find what is it that God-given identity has led them to do and be. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about diving into that for you. If you're new to the podcast, please subscribe and like and share and do all the things, because we just want the message to get out there that, hey, if you're in ministry, if you're a pastor, if you're a Christian leader, you're not alone. And there's some other people out here kind of walking this journey, and it's fun to walk it together. So, Bradley, family man, tell us a little bit about your family. You live right here in Woodruff. Tell us a little bit about Brad Phillips' clan.
Well, I grew up here in Woodruff. I've lived here pretty much all my life, other than about 5 years or so. I lived in Nashville when I went to college at Belmont. Go Bruins. I grew up here. All of my family has always been literally on the dirt that we're on right now,
Yeah.
So I'm a Woodruff guy, kind of through and through, and I've always been around, music growing up, and basically was anytime the church doors are open, we're there. We were there growing up, those kind of things. My grandpa is a pastor, my uncle's a pastor, and all the things, so that the church was always an intrinsic part of our life, here growing up. We were always a part of something at the church. My dad was a gospel music quartet guy.
Yeah.
Growing up, and so it's still kind of crazy to me that I grew up at probably 5 or 6 years old, riding around on a bus with a bunch of grown men.
Yes, sir.
Going to gospel music quartet concerts.
That diesel, did it affect you?
Man,
all the fumes out the back of those buses.
I'll tell you one thing. There's nothing like sleeping in a bunk on a diesel that's purring down the highway. Man. And it's hard. There's a lot of people that think it's a glamorous lifestyle out there living on. But I could sleep like a baby on a bus with the diesel engine in the back. That's some good sleeping. But that's kind of the way that I grew up here in Woodruff. That was our that was our family. My mom's side of the family always sang in church, and my dad's part of the quartet thing, and music and church was always just a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. And so when I graduated high school, my goal and my dream was to go to Belmont. I've told people this before, but I never applied to another college.
Really?
We visited Belmont my sophomore year of high school. My whole family drove up to Nashville to take a trip, and I visited Belmont. Never applied anywhere else. And there was no plan B. There was no plan B here.
Or where does a kid from Woodruff even find out about the fact that a place like that exists and he's thinking about his future connected to that place?
I'm glad you asked. So my dad's quartet was signed to a record label in Nashville in 1989-ish era. Mm-hmm. So I was 11 or 12 at the time. And once again, I got to go on the bus up to Nashville, and this was like my first real recording studio experience.
Okay.
Because I got to be a part of the whole record that they made, all the band tracking, all the vocals, everything. They just let me hang. My dad.
How old were you then?
I was 89. I was 12.
12 years old.
And I was just a fly on the wall observing all this stuff going, this is incredible. This is incredible. And the key to the Belmont thing was the album photos that my dad's group took were on the front steps of the Belmont Mansion.
Really?
At 12 years old, I was introduced to Belmont and heard about, that was the Stephen Curtis Chapman era of Belmont at the time in the mid-late 80s. And their music business program was coming to the forefront of this is a thing that you can do. You can go to college, get a 4-year degree in music business. So I heard about all that stuff at 12 years old, and then just was set on a path of playing guitar and being interested in music technology and all the things. And it just, full circle moment in 1995 when I rolled back up to the steps of the Belmont Mansion. Here I am again, 6 years later, I guess, when I graduated high school. Going to school there full time. So that's kind of the full story of the Belmont thing.
Dude, that's wild, man. Yeah. It is kind of crazy because we're in a football town, man. Yeah. And so for you to think like, hey, I'm going to take this other track, towards being a musician, and to even think that there was such a thing as a career connected to that was crazy. And I will tell you, when I met you, one of the things that I was so incredibly surprised about coming here to this town is, because if people are listening, they don't know this, like, quick backstory. We planted a church together in 2010, and we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. But when I moved here in August of 2010 and met you guys and we started spending time together, I was just amazed at the quality of music, education, and all kinds of things coming out of this place. Like there was just it was really fascinating that there were so many like really high quality things. Because when you think of like a backcountry rural town, you don't think immediately, oh, these people are going to be producing beautiful music and incredible musicians and singers, but that is what is here. And it wasn't just with your family. There's a lot of people here in this place that do that.
Yeah. And when I got married, graduated Belmont, Leanne and I decided to move here. The studio building that we're in right now was actually here. My dad had built it in the backyard of the house, kind of as a man cave studio deal. And he really had no intention of this being a business, But when I moved here, I was like, why not? This is my degree track, let's put my degree to work. And we're kind of out in the country, but let's make this a unique thing. Let's try to make a Nashville East kind of a thing. Let's try to bring all that stuff that we were doing when I was living in Nashville, kind of bring that here to this area. And 25 years later, believe it or not, we're still working out of this building
cranking it out
and all the stuff. And so that really was, and it's incredibly flattering that you would notice those things, because what I've always tried to bring to the table is, people who don't want to drive to Nashville to work, or they don't want to fly to Nashville to work. I was like, I want to give you that experience from here at a professional level. Whatever we can do to make that happen, that's what I want to bring to the table from here.
Because I started filming my podcast here when we started. I've known you forever, but I didn't know you were doing this, and I saw it on an Instagram ad. Studio 101.
Thanks for clicking on our ad.
I did. So I was like, well, I clicked on the ad, and then I immediately text you. I was like, hey. And my first thought was like, I'll never be able to afford it. And when I clicked it on, you're like, man, it's a lot more affordable than you think. But what was crazy is once we started filming and I started getting feedback about the show, everybody says the same thing about the podcast. They're like, man, the podcast is beautiful. It really looks like you know what you're doing. And I hear these same things all the time. You know what no one has ever said to me? Gosh, dude, the way that you interview those guests, it's just brilliant. No.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing. It's so even now, Brad, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're still making me look better than I really am. So hey, you're a dad. You got two beautiful kids. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so I have two kids, Dylan and Hallie. Dylan will be 26 this year.
Oh, my gosh.
Hallie is coming up on 23 coming up this month, actually. And they're both awesome. I love them to death. Dylan and Brooke got married I think I'm doing the right math, 3 years ago. And I guess I can drop this little bit of information right now.
We got big news.
Dylan and Brooke are having a baby in October. So,
oh my gosh,
I'm going to be a grandpa.
You're going to be a grandpa. Dude, that is huge.
Yep.
That is, I mean,
I'm going to own that. I'm going to own it.
You're going to own it.
You guys think you got these gray hairs on my face might date me a little bit, but I'm not as old as you think I am. But I'm going to own that.
You go. What do you think your grandpa name is? Have you picked it out yet?
Let me tell you just how this goes, Josh.
Okay.
Just anybody listening who's in this position or going to be in this position, let me tell you how this goes. You have discussions at the dinner table for weeks, and suggestions are made, and a lot of really dumb names are thrown out there, and eventually there's something that you hear, you're like, oh, okay, I think I can live with that, or whatever. But Leanne, my wife Leanne, there was no questioning. She's Mimi.
That's
like
it.
It was from the get-go. Like,
from the get-go.
This is what's happening. She's like, this is what's happening. So yeah, that whole process is that's an interesting process to figure out. And then as soon as the baby's born and can speak, there's probably going to be a different variation of whatever somebody tells you to call them. Or matter of fact, I had some folks here last week that told me that their grandpa had been in their life since they were born, all the things, and they ended up calling him Charlie, which is his first. That's his first name. But there was no nickname, nothing. Anything. It was the first grandchild said Charlie,
and that's it,
and it stuck. So that's probably where we're going to be at. So.
Hey, you mentioned Leanne.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been married how long now?
Oh, don't. Hold on. We got married in 99. So that's 27.
27, 26.
This year will be 27.
27 years.
June will be 27. Is that the right math? That's the right math.
That's close. It's close enough to know
that's
we
Woodruff
are
math.
old.
Yeah.
We are old. That's what is close enough to know.
Yep.
And gosh, Leanne, she's special. She's a special lady.
I was talking about my grandpa's a pastor, my uncle's a pastor. I married a pastor's daughter, of all things. So she's a PK. For those of you out there who know what that means, that was her. That's the way that she grew up. And what the funny part is to me, and Josh will remember this vividly, and I think he's smiling because he knows what I'm about to say. But we met with Josh to talk through, like, what is this church plant all about that we want to start in Woodruff? And Leanne came to the meeting with bullets in the gun.
Yeah.
There was theology questions.
Oh, yeah.
And man, and we could see it on Josh's face. He's like, who is this lady that knows this Bible stuff and is asking me this question? Yeah.
She was ready, buddy.
Yeah, that was great. That was good memories.
I've respected Leanne ever since that moment. I do remember how intimidating that was, because we had same thing. We had put ads out on Facebook, and I think we put, back in those days, it was wild. We I had Andy and his wife Christy and Grace and Ivy, their two girls. They came to help us plant this church.
Yeah.
And we're just coming here to meet people. And, me and our pastor Perry from our sending church drove down to the Turtle Parfait, and we're just in there asking questions. And it didn't take long for word to get around this town that we were up to something. And I was really, Brad, honestly, I was shocked at how much was already happening here. It was like, I think in my mind, sometimes we think, oh man, these people should be really grateful that I'm bringing all these great ideas here. And then when I get here and I realize, man, you got Bill Thomason, you got Steve Ramey, you got Andrew Scholl, you got Stephen Cannon, I could keep listing dudes that are still my friends to this day, 15 years later. And Curtis Terry, I could just keep listing guys that I know if I could still call them to this day. They'd pick up the phone. I was amazed at just how much gospel movement was already happening in this town. And there wasn't a new church. There wasn't a new church. And we used to say it this way, there's a lot of churches, there just wasn't a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And man, those were some good times, Brad. Yeah. But before we get into there, I want to talk more about that, but I do want to talk a little bit more about your music career. Just you and your brother, all your family, your dad was talented. Everybody could sing. Everybody could do something. You guys had your own little band and music. Tell us a little bit about those years of your lives.
Part of the reasoning from leaving Nashville to move back here was the fact that my brother and sister and I were going to start making our own music and traveling, doing concerts and all the things. And that was part of the goal of moving back here. And, we made that happen. We toured around and recorded probably for a period of 8 or 9 years, I guess, was the time frame. And, it was a family harmony kind of a thing that was, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat when you're and working with artists and musicians and stuff all these years. It's when you have family there's a weird thing that when you hear a note that your sibling sings, then you can harmonize with it, and you almost know what they're going to do as far as the vocal part goes. It's weird to explain to people, but that happens. That's a real thing that happens. Groups like the Martins or anybody else like that people might know that are listening. It's a really cool family thing to be able to do that. But yeah, we did all the things and traveled around. We had we did the RV bus thing and traveled around and toured and all the stuff. And it was amazing. It's the people that we've met and relationships that we made over the years with that, with that music that we were making. We've made lifelong friends and people who still contact us to this very day. Hey, you remember that song that you guys sang?
Oh man.
Yeah. So
you guys were, honestly, it was great music. It wasn't, it was something to really be proud of.
Yeah. And it was, we ultimately ended up being this cross between radio CCM with a little bit of Southern thrown in. And, cause we always traveled like a live band, and, we played guitars live and all the things. And it was different than what other people were doing at the time.
Yeah.
So.
'Cause you weren't just singers, you were also musicians.
Yeah. Cause we had, depending on what church we were in, we'd do a full drum kit with keys and guitars and all the things. And, that was an era of and once again, we can get into this in a minute, but that was an era of church where we were traveling that not all church sites had their own self-contained bands.
Right.
So they were booking other artists to come in, and but I guess I'll also tag that with the fact that we were coming into your church to sing songs and worship and all the things, but like we literally shared the gospel every time. It didn't matter where we were at. Like we weren't going to leave the stage unless someone heard the gospel through what we were doing, and that was just something that we were dedicated to in whatever setting we were in. So good times. Yeah, good times back in the day. So
I remember when the first time because I met you, and then I didn't really know much about that group because Carrie's husband Josh was a big part of that as well, and all you guys are great musicians. And I remember when I heard you all play together for the first time. I don't even remember where it was.
No,
it was somewhere. I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh! Like why did this not like take off? Why? What was the deal, man? What did you think happened like that it just didn't all come together for you guys? I mean, I'm telling you, it was great music.
No, we got to do a lot of awesome things, and it's the age-old like music industry story of like, well, such and such is an amazing singer, but nobody knows who they are. And there's some explanations to those things. There's some ways to not be able to explain all those. But what I really think was happening that we didn't understand at the time was the preparation for what was to come at a certain point in 2008 or 2009 when literally separately all three of us are serving in different churches in pretty significant roles to be able to serve the people of that church that we were at, and that means more to me than like if we had a record deal or whatever, so, but there, it's still, to this very day, we actually released 2 years ago. It's kind of an EP that never got released. We decided to release it.
Yeah. And
that was a pretty big, eye-opening thing to where we're like, man, there's so many people that still care, So hopefully along the lines, we were able to impact some people.
Well, dude, you're one of those guys that if I see your name on a project, I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna be like, I don't know what this is, but it's gonna turn out great. Well, man, the years move along, and you mentioned it before. 2010 rolls around, and you're here in Woodruff, like I was talking about, like. There was a lot of great people here, a great community, a ton of great churches, and pastors who all became like really, really good friends to me. And man, we moved here and joined that community. I mean, we went all in. We moved about 12 miles. We bought a house, and man, it was awesome. Some of those days being here, sometimes we still talk about like how much we miss just living in this little town. But gosh, it was so much fun. And I remember, this is wild. So we came here to plant a church, and then you guys contact us literally through Facebook Messenger. Right. That was how we got connected. And Andy and I show up over here at the Phillips. You guys have a whole plantation over there, right? You got a whole farm. Yeah. And man, we got to meet the whole family that night. Even your brother Jay dropped by, who was also working at a church at that time. Yeah. And man, it was awesome. And I just remember early on thinking like, man, telling Renee, like, could you imagine if they really decide to get involved with us? And little did we know, man, your whole family was going to join this like mission together with us to start this new church here. Yeah. And it was a weird dynamic for me to get used to the fact of like, I had to catch up with you guys on how much you love this place, because a lot of church planters come in and they have the lion's share of like, okay, I'm going to lead these people to love this community. Well, I never had that mountain to climb because there was love and loyalty far beyond like what what I think a lot of people from the outside could imagine just growing up in a town like. So tell us a little bit about just the community, man. What was it like being a part of Woodruff, and tell us like some of the magic of this place.
Yeah, I mean, I still to this very day feel like we're a little bit of an anomaly in the small town world of USA. And Josh may agree or disagree, but like there was always a camaraderie of churches, somewhat different denominations. I mean, we've had a community revival for 20 something years.
Yeah.
I mean, and for people who don't understand what I'm talking about, it's pastors from every denomination who meet together to say to the community, hey, it doesn't matter, red, yellow, black, and white, whatever denomination, we're meeting at this building and we're having revival services for everyone to come to. Like we had been doing that even before, Element came kind of into the picture. Those were things that were going on here, which to me that's not normal. That's not typical of small town, USA, in my opinion. So those are some things that were happening here as far as the church goes. But if you Google Woodruff, South Carolina, you're probably going to find Willie Varner at the top of the
list.
Yeah, which is football. High school football has always been the thing here, and that grows a tightness in community as well. I mean, because on Friday nights you've got 2,000 of the whole town. There's not 2,000 people at that time. At that time, there's probably 2,000 people in the city, but they all come to the Friday night game, and you better lock your door and lock. Main Street's shut down. All that stuff.
Friday Night Lights was just not as good of a version of this place.
Yeah,
right? It was just
so that's what was always going on here. I did move away and did the big city thing for a little while in Nashville and saw a different perspective. But this has always felt like home, and I love that part of what we do here, the community and all the things, and especially even the fact that pastors and churches and people are stepping up to do things together, which is, I don't know, I think that's a pretty cool part of what we have here and what we still have here in 2026,
Man, I want to talk about a couple of things, and I know you're going to remember these things, but I think people will appreciate hearing about them. One was, if you remember when you mentioned the name earlier, we named our church after a skateboard company because that's how cool we were at the time. Yeah. Oh man, when I think about decisions I made in my life, calling this place Element was a good one. It's memorable for sure. Yeah. So, man, you decide, you and Leanne, you guys show up, we're planting this church together. And I remember thinking, man, I'm so glad we got Brad to help us put a band together. Because we're going to need a band because you could not preach the gospel without a band.
Not in 2010.
Not in 2010. It was not possible. No. And so I still remember in those first days, we were going to do like 2 preview services
at West End Baptist
from
Bill
Church.
Thomason, who allowed us to use their existing church facilities.
Yes,
and there, once again, I hope this blows people's minds when they listen to this, that an existing church pastor in a city would say to a brand new church plant, hip dude who's coming out of town, they're going to do this new church. Yeah. Who would have the humility to go, here's the keys to our building. Y'all can have this service here.
Take it. And back in those days,
let that blow your mind.
Back in those days, that was not the case. You could not have done that in another place. In fact, the upstate was kind of known to be a little bit territorial. Yeah. And that was the thing. And so I was really prepared for okay, people are going to, and we had some of that bubbled up, but it wasn't important enough. It didn't matter enough to matter. But I remember doing those and that first service, I remember introducing you to my brother. I knew you were a musician. I knew you were an incredible musician. My brother sang for the first one. We did a second one. Your brother sang. Jay led. Carrie came and sang at that one too. She might have sang at both of of them.
Maybe.
I can't remember if Josh helped on those things, but I just remember I would show up for these things. You would just be bringing these incredible musicians out of nowhere. And I was like, where does he know these people from? Again, known, but not famous. Like that fits. You knew everybody. And so I remember early on thinking, okay, well, Brad's got this music thing taken care of. This is going to like, and every time we show up, it'd be incredible. Well, that was like October and November of 2010. Mm-hmm. Well, by January, there was nowhere to meet in town.
Yeah, we couldn't find a building. There was no like county buildings. No, the school thing didn't work out, and we were struggling trying to figure out what to do. Because we were meeting on. Originally, there's probably 20 people meeting on a Sunday night for almost like a Bible study type.
Yeah,
deal. Josh would do a Bible study type setting. We weren't having like full open to the community type services on a regular basis.
Nope.
But yeah, the challenge was like where to meet.
Where are we going to meet? There's no buildings. There was no churches. There was nothing. There was nowhere to go. Thank God for Andrew Scholl and First Baptist Woodruff.
Once again, man, listen, please, if you're watching and listening to this, please understand what we're saying. This is a pastor of the First Baptist Church in the town who said, here are the keys to my building. Well, not my building, but the building that we use. And you guys can, we can't do Sunday mornings. He's like, we can't give Sundays. we can't give you the key for a Sunday morning. But what we can do is we're going to give you the key for Saturday nights and use it as you need to. And I'm like, I hope pastors in 2026 are thinking this way. Yeah. I don't know, but it doesn't seem typical to me that, a pastor would have the mentality and the humility to go, hey, there's a bunch of new people that I don't really know, but we're going to let them use our building. Yeah. What? That's crazy to me.
Well, during, we're talking 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. And back then that was not the way. Yeah. And some things were changing. There was a lot of reasons for that, but I just kept running into, and I mentioned some of them earlier, I just kept running into pastors that just welcomed me to the table as friends. And here we are launching a church in 2010 it was in January of 2010. We started putting services together, and I remember coming to you. This is part I want to talk about.
I remember this.
I remember coming to you, and I was like, Brad, we got a band for the services because it's happening on Saturday night, and I didn't know how to ask you what I was about to ask you. Yeah. I just assumed that you were going to need to find a worship leader, and I was expecting that. And I still remember this conversation. I came to you and I was like, Brad, so you got everything you need?
Who's going to sing?
And I was like, who's going to sing? Oh, who's going to sing? And you said something like, well,
I thought maybe I would try it. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I said. I was like, well, I thought maybe I would just try that.
I thought I would try it. Yeah. And this is not a joke. I was so nervous. Uh-huh. I don't know if I've told you this part. I was so nervous because I had no idea that you did anything except
play guitar or whatever,
studio, set up sound, play guitar, play all the instruments you play. Yeah. I didn't know if you could sing. Yeah. And so when you said you were singing, I remember thinking, oh my God, I wonder if he can sing. It wasn't until the countdown ended.
Yeah.
At the first service we had on a Saturday night, that countdown ended and you sang the first note. I remember going, oh, thank God.
No, I remember all of that stuff.
Oh my
God. That was
gosh.
so funny.
Dude, it was wild.
Funny. Yeah.
Man, those Saturday night services were fun. They were so much fun.
We were talking about that the other day. My crew, me and Leanne and the kids. And we were talking about, I think it was in regards to the Easter services that, we had Easter services available on Saturday this past weekend. And I was like, man, I kind of missed those days. I ain't going to lie, because it was a lot of work to go set up church and do all things and tear it down and pack it up. I was like, boy, we slept in like a baby on Sunday mornings. Didn't have to be anywhere. and do all the things. And I was like, man, we might have been on to, those Seventh-day Adventists might have been on to something,
Hey,
So.
do you remember this? Do you remember we needed lights? We needed lights. This is I cannot believe we did this. We needed lights, like so people could see you because we had to be cool, but we had $0.
Right,
whatever. Like I still think we probably owed your dad, God rest his soul, Carol Phillips.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been for Carol Phillips, the church would have never gotten off his feet. Because I think there are probably a million things he bought for us that we just don't even know that he did.
You're probably right.
But I remember we needed lighting. And we went down to the hardware store.
Ace Hardware. Yeah,
Ace Hardware store. And we bought those bright yellow work lights. We bought 2 of them. And then we were upset because they were yellow and we didn't know what to do and we didn't have time to paint them. We bought the biggest Sharpie markers we could have and we literally spent hours coloring the yellow work lights black so we could light you up on the stage.
Man.
That was it. That's church planning 2010. Yeah. We were ready.
Pro tip church planning.
Oh, dude, but it was wild. People came and it was what I loved about it was people came that had not been to church in a long time.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know if I can interject that now, but like the part of the whole reasoning that we contacted you to start with was out of a desire for a church setting to be available to people in our community that had an aversion to the traditional experience. And I grew up in the traditional Baptist experience. I really don't have any aversion to that. But there are people out there who did not have the same experiences that maybe I had growing up or maybe other people had growing up. And the heart behind the whole thing, the whole time, was the fact of removing any of the barriers or any of the blocks or any of the things that people might have had in their mind about what church was supposed to be or how church could be. And that was the whole what you just said. In all of the years we were a part of Element, people kept coming into the building who said they would never go to a church, or growing up they'd never been to a church, or their mom and dad was like, "Yeah, we don't do the church thing." Mm-mm. Those people were coming. They were literally showing up, and they were inviting other people. Just it was mind blowing, and still is to me, the fact of like what we were going after with the come as you are type setting and all the things. Like it was working.
It was working.
People were showing up.
Pastors and leaders, if you're enjoying this conversation and you want to see where you maybe could take a next step in your leadership, go to hearttomission.com and fill out the Heart Check Assessment. It's 30 questions, takes just a few minutes to fill out, and you'll get right in your inbox for free some next steps for you to take towards closing the gap between your heart and your mission. For a long time I've been working in denominational work, helping start other churches, and for a long time I was really, when I would tell people about I planted a church, I'd be like, "Hey, tell me about it." I would almost shy away, like, "Well, we planted an attractional model church, and I kind of felt a little embarrassed, but now I'm like, man, that was awesome. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Like it was so fun."
Yeah, it was something.
We were doing our best, I think, share gospel with people in a way they could hear it.
Yeah.
And dude, the fun's like we were giving away free hot dogs at the Woodruff football games.
I would love to know how many hot dogs. We were the hot dog church. I mean, like you could have just called us the hot dog church or the football church or whatever it was that that we decided to do. But if you set up a tent at a sporting event, and just tell people like, "Hey, here we got hot dogs. We might have some hamburgers over here." Like we're just giving them to you, and people were like, "Wait, you mean I don't have to give you money for that?" Yeah. And nobody could grasp the concept of just the generosity of like, "Hey, we have a church logo on our tent or whatever. We're not pressuring you to come to our church, but we want to give you something that you don't have to give us back anything." So.
Oh man, I never forget year 2. Like first football season was awesome. I got to be the chaplain of the football team.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And I'm sure, man, I had some of the best fun ever. There's nowhere better to watch a football game than from the sidelines.
Yeah.
And to get to be a part of that was wild with Coach Brian Lane. I love him to this day. And man, we're getting to do all kinds of stuff like that, like sharing the gospel with all the kids on Tuesday nights at the field, traveling with them for the game. Friday nights was amazing. But year 2, we come back, and I'll never forget, we look around, there's another tent set up, and somebody comes over to me and they're like, Josh, we're in trouble. I was like, why are we in trouble? They're like, Church of God's here giving away hot wings. I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge win, man. What's better than churches filling up the parking lot, giving away food just to connect with people and build relationships, man. It was an awesome time.
I've talked with some of the other pastors that, that were in churches here during that time, and I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a way that people understand what I mean. But I think the fact that Element coming into a city like this, which had, our city, it was not like our city had 4 church plants and everybody was like competing against each other or anything like that. Our city had never had the opportunity to, witness or be a part of a church that operated like, the come as you are, flip-flops and shorts, come on. We're going to meet on Saturday night, come on. We're going to give away hot dogs. That the sort of approach and mentality had never been presented here. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like in the most positive way that I can present this is the fact that like other pastors were taking a look and going, hey, this pumps me up because we see them doing things that we didn't really think of, or we see them having some success with people in attendance or whatever. Man, we're gonna step up our game, and we're gonna keep pushing forward and doing as many things as we can in our community to push the gospel forward in the city. And I think it compelled other pastors and other churches to do more things and to rethink what they were doing. So I hate to use, it's not a competition. The gospel is not a competition in your city between pastors and churches. That's not what it is. But I do think a good culture between pastors and churches is going to help push forward the gospel and different thoughts and approaches and all the things. I think it's a positive. I think it's a positive. It ended up being Absolutely. A positive, I think.
That sense of collaboration and partnership in the gospel, I think it's one of the most meaningful things in a community, because one church can't possibly meet the needs of every person in a community. Your church cannot be everything to everybody, and if you try to be everything to everybody, you're really not going to be successful doing that. Like you need different expressions of people sharing the hope of Jesus through the gospel for a community to know and love Jesus. You need that. Like that's the whole point.
And and it's there's an age old like kind of an argument or rub in the church culture where it's like preferences, like, well, I don't like your preferences, and you got preferences that I don't like, and so I don't prefer your type of church. But like, we do have some of those options in the city of Woodruff now. If you want something super traditional, that's amazing. Go do that and be awesome and listen to that message and be a part of that church and support it. And there's a church that's more progressive or whatever, with a live band and all the things. That's available too. Go be a part of that and make it awesome. I don't know. I don't see there's anything wrong with it, and it's good to have choices like
by
that.
The time we got through 2011, Saturday nights came to an end as soon as college football season started.
Yeah, that kind of wrecked it.
It kind of wrecked us, because not only did the people in town not want to be there on Saturday night, you and me didn't want to be there on Saturday night.
Josh is like, what's the Clemson score? We're going to win the national championship.
We didn't ask that question for a while in 2010, but gosh, man, those were, we quickly found a place like by the grace of God and moved to Sunday mornings.
That was a wild. Can we tell that story real quick? I don't want to get off on a tangent.
I think it's a great story.
The Spartanburg County I don't know the correct
Parks
term.
and Rec.
Parks and Rec department has basically a gym facility in the city of Woodruff, and the people in charge, they were just like, yeah, not calling us back, not, basically know all the things, and we're not going to allow church to come do the things and whatever. And I believe that person got terminated at some point.
Yeah.
And the next person that came in basically immediately was like, come get the key. And we were like, what? And they were like, yeah, come get the key. Y'all can meet at the rec building on Sunday mornings.
Dude,
and that was a game changer.
Game changer for us. But I'll never forget that, dude. It was September. We had started, that first night, I never forget, somebody came to me. I was in the back. The countdown timer was running so we could step out in front of our Sharpie painted work lights. The countdown timer was running. Somebody came to me and goes, hey man, do you want us to go get the kids? And we had one family here with like 9 kids at the time.
Yeah.
And, the Millers. We're like, hey, do you want us to go get the Millers and bring them over here so we can put the kids out there because there's nobody here?
Yeah.
we were grabbing like 70, 80 or 100 people, and it was football season. Brad, I remember I really got into like 3 solid days of prayer. And this is not to brag on me being any kind of special, but I remember thinking, like, if this doesn't change, we are done. We are cooked. And so it was 3 days, and wherever I was going, I was just asking God to intervene. And that Wednesday night, I remember this was after 3 days of just going, God, you got to fix this. And like wherever I was at, if I was eating Mexican food at Broncos down here, wherever I was at, which we did a lot.
Yep.
But wherever I was at, I was asking God. You guys were praying. We were just trying to figure this out. And we turned on the news and we saw that, hey, this person had been terminated, and there's a new guy in town. I emailed him that night. 10 days later, the new guy, 10 days later, we had our first service in the Woodruff Leisure Center.
Wild. Yeah.
It was unreal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, first week, we had like 125 people. The second week, we had like 185 people. Mm-hmm. And then the third week, we crossed over 200 and never looked back. Like it was
2 services before said and done at the at the rec building. Yeah.
We saw growth. And we quickly knew that we were going to have to need more full-time people. Yeah. Now we had grown from a church in just a short amount of time of 75 people
to a year, basically. Are we talking a year or maybe
less than a year? Yeah. And now we got hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. And I remember this is another one of my favorite Brad Phillips stories, right? It's another one of my favorites. But I remember you were working for the school district.
Yeah, I was working for
and also doing your studio thing. Mm-hmm. And, man, we're dreaming about, hey, one day, we'll get to this point. And I'll never forget, you called me one morning. Do you remember this? And
probably.
Yeah, you're going to remember this. You were painting a fence by the tennis court. You remember this?
Yes. I'm trying to.
You trying to forget this?
Yeah, trying to forget this one.
I remember you painting that fence, and I remember you saying something to me like, Josh, this is not what I imagined for my life, that I'm out here painting a fence.
Man.
And I was like, dude, let's figure out how to get you on staff here.
Yeah.
And man, through a miracle of all the people that supported us, you were able to take that step into full-time ministry here. And man, that was incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Having you full-time was wild.
Well, to take like one step back, I told everybody that I knew that I would never work for a church ever in the history of mankind, that I wasn't doing that. I had friends that kind of followed a little bit of the same path that I was on at the time, and I was like, I ain't doing that. I was like, I know too many people that worked at the church, my grandpa and my uncle, all the stuff. They're like, I ain't doing that. And then I did. It was like, it's really truly that super corny cliche thing about don't tell God what you're not going to do or whatever. Yeah, that was one of those moments that I learned. I had to learn that day.
Yeah.
So, but went in and jumped in, and it felt like it was the thing that I needed to be doing. at that point in my life, So
Dude, when I think back on these days, oh man, it's like, it was almost like college all over again. Like it was like, just constantly doing something new up to the middle of the night, having the best time. It's like you were all with all your best friends all the time. I do want to ask you this though. Do you remember your first day of full-time employment?
Oh Lord.
At Element Church.
Yeah, yes, I do remember that vividly. And I think we talked about this the other day, but so I think you guys were you were out of town.
I was at a conference.
Okay.
Yeah, out of town.
Josh is out of town.
Orlando, I think.
And it was basically me and you were the only two kind of in charge. Somebody let us be in charge. It's like answering phone calls and checking emails and whatever. And Josh was like, here's all the things, how this works. And man, we get a phone call of I can't remember. You probably have a little clearer memory maybe, but it was such that I needed to go to one of our attendees' house because the police were there.
Yep.
And there was a knife involved and several other things. And we don't have to go into great detail.
Oh, yeah.
But I got called to the scene of what I thought was going to be a crime or a murder or some sort to try to help. They wanted somebody from the church to be there to help talk them through whatever was going on. And that was my baptism into the first day of full time.
First day.
Yeah. So, I don't know that's probably not a typical experience.
I don't know what is
for
typical.
Most people. And I was like, boy, I'm way underprepared for this, that was an eye-opening experience. But, that was one of the things that, I don't know, man. And I don't know if these are things that people talk about when, young guys and girls come out of seminary or all the other things. I've been frustrated over the last few years of like these people coming out of North Greenville and wherever they're coming from. It's like, I hope that someone's giving them a reality check of like, you need to know, you need to be aware of like when you get a peek behind the curtain in church staff and working for a church, it is not normal and it's messy. And like you're going to there's possible you're going to get called to somebody's house where the police are there and there's a knife involved and all the things. Like you need to be aware before you take this job, before you step into this thing. And then, not to be all gloom and doom and Debbie Downer with church staff positions, but that's one of the things that I think people need to be aware of. And hopefully someone's listening to this and it's clicking in their mind going, hey, I'm going to remember that for down the road. But because when you're dealing with people and people's lives and things are not, sometimes there's a mess that you get brought into, and you want to help these people through these things, obviously. But yeah, there's a little shock and awe involved in some of these things.
Mike Tyson, what did he say? Everybody's got a plan
until you get punched in the mouth.
That's exactly right. I felt like that's a good epitaph on Brad Phillips' first day.
There you go
of church ministry.
Yeah, welcome. That was welcome, like, welcome,
dude.
Here.
That was a wild day. I remember calling you on the phone and I was like, Brad, you might want to get down there. I think somebody's going to be murdered.
Man, it was not. Yeah.
You said, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I think. What you heard. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what
man, you should have seen Leanne's face. That was pretty wild day.
You did great though. Nobody died. Nobody even got arrested, Brad.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh man. Listen, I can't stress enough. Just things really were great. We were able to, within a relatively short amount of time, I think by 2012 or so, I mean, that was 2 years later, we're moving into our own building.
Mm-hmm.
We're down there,
Demoing.
sledgehammers, tearing up
and
bathrooms, like breaking down the old where the church still is to this day. Man, the Theo family let us come in there and rent that space from them, lease that space from them, and we put a church in there. And I mean, our blood, sweat, and tears were in that place. I told the story at your dad's funeral a couple of years ago. Your dad and I were there putting a wall up. We're nailing a wall with a nailer. Well, neither one of us had really spent much time with an air nailer, and I'm standing here going, I hope Carol can teach me how to use this thing. And because I'd only use just a regular hammer, and we somehow got our hands on some real equipment.
Yeah.
And Carol leans down and he shoots a nail, and I feel that nail like literally fly by my ear. And it shoots by, the old fluorescent lights that were in the building. It shoots by my ear and takes out one of those lights, and it explodes.
Hilarious.
And I just looked down at your dad, and he looked at me. He's like, well, I'm glad you're all right, son.
Yeah. Man, those are some crazy times. Trying to plan services and make building plans all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right. We had to do it. We had to do it all. Back to your point. Nobody who prepares you for going in and renovating a building, like who prepares you for figuring out, I need to be a professional on plumbing. And, I still won't say out loud that I had anything to do with plumbing those bathrooms.
Oh boy.
Because I'm going to tell you something. I've heard some stories over the years.
There are people who still talk bad about that.
I'm just going to say, when you put a pastor in charge of that, I don't know how we got Spartanburg County to approve that situation. But I hope we're outside of like any kind of like period of time, statute of limitations on that. Thank God.
We're good.
But yeah, that is the spirit though. We would do anything. Yeah. We would have done anything to figure it out.
It was wild, but yes, that's correct. Pretty much anything.
We moved in, and Brad, I want to kind of get to the meat part of this story, and maybe some of the hard parts of the story that if we could go back and change some of it, we'd be like, man, that'd be part I wish I could put an eraser on and do that over.
For sure.
But the church had grown pretty large for a small town, and really for any town. And in the middle of all that, some bad things happened. Yeah. Moral failure. Not blaming any person on anything. Some bad stuff happened that you and I and some other people kind of had to figure out how to pick up the pieces and keep moving forward.
Yeah,
man, what was it? It's easy for me to kind of look back now because I think I was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, what was your experience like during those days? What'd that feel like for you trying to navigate that?
Well, I mean, part of the story is the fact that we grew exponentially faster than I believe mine and your capacity to lead what was available.
Accurate.
Does that make
100%
make sense? So that is not an excuse, but the growth that we experienced was way far past what I think any of us were prepared for, is I guess is another way to put it. And matter of fact, do you remember the first Easter in the new building?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the number?
It was wild.
9/12. I have it on a photo on my phone. I keep it keep it in my phone. And it was 912 people within the first 2.5 years of the existence of the church.
That doesn't happen, dude.
No, it was unprecedented. People were coming to us to ask us questions about what we were doing, and we were like, the Lord,
yeah,
like God, like, the Bible, Jesus, like we had no other explanation. Really, seriously, I had no other explanation to what was going on, and the growth was happening so fast that I really feel like there was it was overwhelming to us, and we were moving so fast and try to make sure that services are planned and messages are written, and who's on the schedule, and do we have enough volunteers to handle the kids? It was like we were doing all the things that we needed to be done to make the services run, but there was no other time that was available to like soak it in and understand what was going on, because we were trying every day to make the wheels keep turning. And I guess that's what, when I look back at all those things, it's like, man, I guess maybe I wish I would have taken a breath to figure all that out, or to see what was happening. And we were just trying to make sure that the services were happening on time, and there was no distractions during the services, and kids were being treated well. And I don't know. And once again, I'm not making any statements to make an excuse for anything, but I feel like things just sort of flew by in front of us so fast that we really didn't notice the smaller details.
That's a good way to put that.
And I don't know. People say hindsight's 20/20 and all the things, and I've actually shared this for several years with different people that it's like, if you don't have, there's probably coming a time in your life when you have I hope I can say oh crap moment.
Yeah.
Maybe I can put it that way.
Enough, right?
Yeah, there's probably coming a time in your life where you're going to have a oh crap moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if it hadn't happened in your life yet, you're probably going to have one.
It ain't gonna be long. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a guy, it's probably in your mid 30s or somewhere along there, where you're going, everything just crashed and burned just now, and I have no control over any of it. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which was some of those moments that I feel like you could say that we, you felt, I felt, all of us maybe went through some of those things during that time period that, some of these things were happening. But one of the cool things, I think, like I said, that I've shared with several people, is the fact that, like, when you have that old crap moment and then you're however many years down the road and you look back and you're able to say, now I understand why I had to go through that, so that at this moment I can share with this person that's in front of me, like, hey, now I understand. And at some point, I think whoever you're talking to, you're going to be able to look back and say, I see what the plan was. I see what God had for me in my life. And even though it hurt really bad at the time to go through whatever it is that you were going through, God's preparing you for things to come. And he's preparing your heart and your mind to be able to look back at those things that happened and go, okay, I've seen this happen before. I've experienced this thing before. Let me take a breath real quick and let me think about what's happening, and let me come up with a way better plan than the way I reacted the first time. So I that may sound trivial, but it's a thing to me that I've been able to be able to look back and understand. And you and I both have said it before. It's like, boy, don't you wish we would have figured out those things in the moment? Right. It would have been amazing if we would have been able to see those things at the moment. And you were talking about a pastor earlier that, was able to take, there was something that was going on in their staff, and he was able to take several days of a pause. And it's like, man, everything was flying by us so fast at that point in time. There's like, boy, I sure do wish we would have took a little bit of a few days, kind of a pause or something. But and once again, this is it's church speak, I guess, when I say this, but the devil is after things that are going forward for God's glory. He's going to really be after it. And unfortunately, in our situation with the Element Church plant, a lot of that junk came to the forefront, unfortunately. And, I know there's been some other church plants that you've probably been around or seen where that the devil is attacking stuff that you don't understand why. You're like, why in the world? All these things are happening. We're having people that are coming, and we're having people getting saved, and people are getting baptized. And why do we have to go through this dumb thing or whatever it is? But I think if you look biblically into it, the devil's after those things that are for good, for God's glory. So I
do wish I could have been more aware of some of that spiritual warfare that I'm 100% confident that we were facing.
Sure. Yeah.
Like to be, I just wish that I could have remembered the verse at the time. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. There's a different battle waging.
Yeah.
There's a different thing happening here, and I don't think I think it was all earthly. I was thinking earthly strategies and plans, and how do we get out of this, and what do we figure out? And man, gosh, you talk about some regrets. I can't ever. When I hear that word, when people are like, I don't have any regrets, I'm like, man, I got enough for both of us, bro. I do, and we have talked about this before, but I do think a great point here is to stop and think just how dependent we should be on the Lord, even more when we're in these moments and times when you really can't understand, okay, the world around me feels like it's cracking up. Like maybe there's something happening here that only God can fight that battle for you.
Yeah, for sure. And, like I said, it really stinks that the things that we had to face during those times, had to happen. But I do think it helped me to come to a realization for lots of different things. And it, I know it molded and shaped me as a person and as a Christ follower, all those things. I think you could probably say the same for yourself. And you and I had talked about this years ago and tried to talk through some of the stuff that happened, because I finally got to a point personally where it's like I didn't want to leave any bridges burned with anyone. That was not my true heart of what I wanted to be about. And so there was a lot of self looking inside self to be like, okay, these things happened. It's over and done with now. Now let's process that and maybe talk through it a little bit, and let's try to figure out how to move on from that in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just, it's almost like a blur. It's almost like a blur.
Yeah.
To be real honest with you. I mean, not to lessen what we went through, but like it was so many factors of things that I'm not sure that most church planters who were starting a church would not be faced with the things that happened in a short period of time. In the 100-year history of a traditional Baptist church, the kind of some of the things that we went through may not have happened once or twice, so it was a little bit unprecedented.
We packed a lifetime of memories into about 4.5 years.
Yeah, for sure.
A lifetime of like tragedy and all kinds of stuff that we went through.
Yeah, people that we lost, that was those things were some tragic things that happened too that it's hard to explain.
Some of that, Brad, publicly, when you guys left the church, it came a point where it was like, okay, we had decided, okay, we're gonna go different direction here.
Yeah.
And that kind of was a result of a little bit of I guess you could say a breakdown between you and I figuring that out.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've been able to do privately is, as you said, to look back on that and go, man, I think there was so much spiritual warfare happening that I wasn't battling in the way I should have been battling personally, and I had so much to be responsible for. That when we talked about that, man, now those things seem so trivial. And one of the things I'm so grateful for, like right now, today, is my friendship with you. Like that is still intact, and has been for a long time.
Yeah.
I know, your dad passed away a few years ago. He fought leukemia for a very, very long time, and got sick. And man, when I got the call, my heart broke for you and your family, because I just know how special he was. And I was so glad to know that that same welcome that I had into your home in those days. I still felt like I was kind of a part of the Phillips family, my family and my wife, and gosh, man, I just I'm really glad we were able to move through that. Yeah. I want to talk about this, man. You were really able to turn the page, right? And here you are. You have been working in church ministry for a handful of years. I mean, you've been in church ministry a long time, but you've been working full time for a handful of years, and now that's kind of come to an end. And the studio is still here. And Brad, a big part of what I do with Heart the Mission, what we do on this podcast, is tell the story of guys who've been able to walk through some difficult times and then come out the other side and figure out, here's exactly what God has carved me out to do. Man, I want to hear a little bit about how you were able to turn the page and figure out exactly, hey, what is Brad Phillips' contribution to the world on this little corner down here in Woodruff?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hope this connects the dots for everybody who might be listening. But there's not a lot for me that's changed since 2010, to be honest with you, because there's still a lot of things that I continue to do inside the studio, outside the studio, in the church, all the things. I think it's still kind of a continuous thing for me, but it's always about people for me. And I hope people understand what I mean by that is like, you got to be able to invest in people, specifically in the church staff world, and whether it's the attendees of your church or whatever. But I decided when we stepped away from Element, the studio had always been, we'd been working out of the studio for the whole time we were at Element and all the things. I mean, it was just a part of what we were able to do.
Yeah.
It's like, what church has access to a recording studio? That was another bonus for everybody.
By the way, we put 2 incredible albums out from that studio, that church in this studio.
Yeah, that was
thanks to you.
That was wild. That stuff is still good. You guys know, you need to go listen to it.
They do.
But the studio was always here, and I guess it was 2014 or 15 when, that old crap moment that I was talking about earlier, that adversity in your life, when you've experienced that, when you literally feel like you're at ground zero and you have to claw and fight to figure it out, like you have no other choice. If you've ever been in that position, that was kind of what I felt like I was in at one point. I was like, I have got to figure this out. I have got to support my family. I've got to do all the things, and I've got to make it happen. And you're driven to just figure it out. I don't know how to explain it any other way. I think there's something inside of all of us to when you're sort of forced and pushed, you make it happen. So that's part of kind of what I felt at that, around 2014 era. And we basically remodeled and rebuilt and put in new equipment here, and we're just like, this is what I'm doing. And as a part of what I'm doing, to this very day, Josh, I have artists from North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, wherever, who are just getting started, musicians and songwriters and singers who come here, and I get to invest in them to be a part of what they're doing on the front end of things. And this may sound crazy, but when you're working in a church and you meet people and they come to know Christ, and you're on the front end of a journey that they're going on, it's incredibly similar to me, to what we get to do here. And I get to see and be a part of people who are starting a journey kind of from a ground level, to see them go on to, and there's different levels of success, I guess, or whatever, whatever success means to them is awesome to me, whether it's a record label deal or whether it's just, recording a song that they've written and be able to put it out for the world to listen to. We get to walk through kind of the journey to help them do all those things. And, that's kind of several of the things that I came to realize, even through through all the churches, and we're still involved with the church who's in the building down there now. We can talk about that in a minute. But as far as what I came out of it was the fact of like, I do enjoy working with people to help them develop things and to help them to sort of figure out who they are a little bit, and to help them along their journey, and to hopefully interject some things that I've learned and be a part of what they're doing. And, we have had some artists here that have gone on to get, major record label deals in Nashville. And, we've worked with artists who are part of major record label deals. And that's not an ego or a brag statement. That's just the fact of like, we put in the work in people. Like I feel like we care about people here, whether it's whoever it is that comes through the doors. My goal is I hope that you feel welcome here, and that you feel like we are going on a journey with you to help you, reach the goal that you have. And, that's I guess in a nutshell, I guess that's the biggest thing that has come to fruition for me from all these years of looking back and going, okay, now that I've had that experience, let's apply that as I move on, and all those things. So hopefully that resonates with somebody that's listening in a situation that they might be in. But that's how it panned out for me. And we're here doing this now. And, there's other friends that we have and people that we went to church with who we do this, and, we go out to eat and we do all the things. And, I don't know, man, it's been a really cool journey up to this point.
Man, it's cool to see. I am grateful the church is, still rocking and rolling. It became a part of one of the churches here in the upstate, Church at the Mill, and now is pastored by Adam Siskey and Daniel Godfrey are two guys over there, Adam being the lead pastor. Mm-hmm. But I just am so grateful for that team, and the fact you guys, your family's still there, still going, and gospel's still being preached here in this town. And man, that's a pretty exciting.
Well, and
thing.
I've shared this with you too, and I've tried to keep you in the loop a little bit over the last few years and stuff and things, because I felt like it was important, that you and Renee. You guys sacrificed a ton to get it started. So, I have always felt like that you guys are. We wouldn't have the setup that's there today, and the church is still going if you guys hadn't sacrificed to be able to come get it started. Because so I've always wanted to make sure that you knew, like, hey man, this is still happening, and people are hearing the gospel still to this very day from what God laid on your heart in 2009 or 10. So that's important to me. So.
Man, I think about well, let me do this, man. I want to give you a gift, and then I got a couple things I want to say to you.
Okay.
But yeah, this is something. If you watched the podcast, you've kind of seen this before. And I want you to open this. Okay. And let me tell you, I've done this before, but I'm really excited about this one.
All right. Gotcha.
But if you're watching. Brad knows exactly what this is as he takes it out of this bag, but this is a case pocket knife. And by the way, I don't know if people appreciate these things like I appreciate these things, because it's kind of like the birth certificate for being born in South Carolina. Right. Like you need to have one of these. But this is a Stag case, actually made the year you were born, Brad. That's made in 1977.
Crazy.
And it's a beautiful pocket knife. And I just wanted you to have something to carry around. And I say this, dude, use it and do with it what pocket knives are supposed to do. Yeah. Like I hope when I see it in another 6 months, it's scratched up and you got it out somewhere and you're prying something off, right? Because that's what it's meant to be done.
Man, yeah.
With that thing. But it is an absolute beautiful knife. I love the bone in that knife. I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great.
That's killer. Thank you,
dude. I want to say to you a couple things, man. To become a leader, you really have to have a follower. And for me here, man, you and your family kind of were the people that turned me into a leader for the first time, because you were the first people that here in Woodruff that decided to join up. And man, I just never could thank you enough for that. And all you and your family, Leanne, Dylan, your mom and dad, Hallie, I'm just so thankful for every single member of your family. You guys are a special crew, and just to get to be part of that, besides Element, getting to experience all you guys over at Miss Joni's house on a Sunday afternoon. If you've never done it, you need to see if you can get an invitation. That's a special place to be. Your mom and dad are special people, and Brad, I just want you to know, like, those years to me are some of the most beautifully painful years of my life, and
for sure.
You're a special part of that, man.
Well, I appreciate it,
and I'm grateful for you. I really am. Thank you for coming on the podcast, buddy.
Yeah, man, glad to do it, bud. Glad we're able to set this up and talk through some of this stuff. I genuinely hope that somebody out there is listening that can, if you're on the church plant journey or whatever it is, church staff journey. Please take this stuff to heart, because I think it's important that people know what could happen, and then how it could end up like we are here today, man. So
man, God had a plan. Little did we know.
For sure, man.
Yeah, love you, buddy.
Love you too, bud.